and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today we're making some adorable Dollar Tree signs for Christmas.
For this super cute Noel sign, I'm going to start by painting this little board that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I gave it 2 coats of white chalk paint by Rust-Oleum. I'm going to be using these cute little stickers that I got at the Dollar Tree, and what I'm doing is I'm just putting the edge on my little ruler so that I can space out my letters nice and even, and then I'm just going to attach it to my little sign. To have my border stand out, I'm just grabbing a Sharpie permanent marker and I'm making little stitches all around the edge. To decorate the top portion of my sign, I'm just using this greenery that I got at the Dollar Tree this past spring, and I'm just going to put all the branches towards the center. For the berries, you can either use those pom-poms or you can use these vase fillers that I decided to use, and I chose the biggest size in the container. Grabbing a piece of jute twine, going to feed it through the holes that originally came in the sign, and I'm just going to knot each end of the jute cord in front of the sign. For this project, I will be using a Dollar Tree sign that I got in spring, and I just turned it over and I gave it 2 coats of white acrylic paint. For a cute frame, we're using this red and white ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm approximating about 1/2 inch from each edge, and I'm just going around and I'm going to hot glue it in the back, and I'm going to do this to all the sides. Now I'm grabbing these window clings that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use the Happy Holidays one that has the little cocoa mugs and then the bigger gingerbread one. These are not sticky because they are window clings, so I'm just going to dab a little bit of hot glue just to keep them in place. To embellish, I'm going to be using these picks from the Dollar Tree. They have the berries and the pine cones on them. I'm going to grab the smaller greenery and I'm just going to lay it where everything is facing towards the top center of my sign. And I'm just going to cut off any excess that I feel like is in the way and just hot glue the greenery to my sign. I'm also going to be using the pine cones that are kind of thin and long, and then I'm just going to grab 1 bushel of the berries, divide it in half, and then put my pine cone in between the berries and hot glue that to my greenery. I decided to also cover that space in between my greenery, so I'm just hot gluing a little bundle of berries that I got, and on top of that I'm going to be putting a little bow. Using a floral wire, I brought the bow together, then I'm just hot gluing it to the center of my greenery. And to balance everything out, I'm using this mini pine cone that I found in the Dollar Tree pine cone potpourri container, and I'm just hot gluing it to the center of the bow.
Guys, I'm just popping in really quickly to let you know that this video is part of a challenge. This challenge is being hosted by Heidi Sambul DIY. I will list her channel down below along with the playlist for all the other participants, and we are all making Christmas DIYs.
To start this project, I'm grabbing this peace sign. It comes in a set of 3 from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint it a light green. I'm just mixing a little bit of white, a little bit of green to come up with the perfect color that I particularly was looking for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dab on the paint and I'm going to give it a few layers, and then after all my paint layers dry, I am going to put a layer of Mod Podge over it to seal it. I have used this technique using these little metal signs before, and the paint stays on fairly well. Now I'm just grabbing a piece of scrapbooking paper, and I'm using this set that I had on hand, but you can use anything from gift wrapping paper, or if you're looking for a particular design, you can definitely just go to Michael's and buy one sheet, and it's going to be under $1 for that part. As you can see, I'm using this ornament sign from the Dollar Tree for this project, and what I'm doing is just I turn my paper upside down and I'm going to trace the little light bulb and then cut it out. Using some tacky glue, I'm attaching my scrapbooking paper cutout to the actual light bulb sign. Grabbing a piece of white cardstock, I cut it down to about 3-4 inches in height until I felt that the peace sign fit perfect on that white cardstock. Grabbing another piece of white paper, I'm going to trace the top of my little light bulb sign and cut it out, and then using some more tacky glue, glue it on top of the light bulb sign. Using some jute cord, I'm going to wrap it around the top of the sign and hot glue both ends in the back. Now let's decorate the front. I'm going to use some of this beautiful frosted fern from the Dollar Tree, and I just took the biggest leaves on there, and I am going to have them cascade from the middle to the outside. Then using my favorite grosgrain ribbon, I'm making a beautiful white bow and hot gluing it to the center of my little ferns. Now I'm just hot gluing the white paper to the ornament. And then for the peace sign, I am going to use the Gorilla Super Glue because I find that works better than anything when attaching these really thin signs. For this sign, I will be using 3 of these snow globes from the Dollar Tree, and the first thing I did was removed all the twine on it and the little tags, and then I gave the snow globe 2 coats of white paint on top and then black paint on the bottom. To write the word joy, I'm using stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm using a ruler to make sure every one of my letters are centered and pretty much in the same spot. Now I'm going to be using this decorative mesh that I'm absolutely head over heels for, because these are actually really expensive if you go to Michael's or Joann Fabrics. So I was so glad to find this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off pieces that are just a little bit bigger than my little snow globes, and I'm going to be Mod Podging them onto the globe part of my signs. I'm putting a heavy layer of Mod Podge on my sign, then putting up my decorative mesh on top, and then giving it another thick layer of Mod Podge. After I let my snow globes dry for about an hour, I'm just cutting off all the excess from the sides of the globe. Then I'm putting on this gorgeous little ribbon from the Dollar Tree right below the little globe part, and then just adding a red little bow, also from the Dollar Tree, in the middle of my little ribbon. For this project, I will be using this frame from the Dollar Tree, and it's a little bit less than 12 by 12. It's like 11 by 11 and a half. It's kind of odd. So I'm going to take the backing out, and I'm going to paint the frame itself white, and I'm going to give it about 3 coats of white chalk paint. Grabbing the sign from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to give the whole sign 2 coats of white chalk paint. Then I'm going to go back and paint the word on with some black chalk paint. For my background, I'm using a 12 by 12 scrapbooking page, and I'm using this gorgeous green, and I'm just cutting it down to size. When I put my sign against the green, I realized that it was missing something. And so I decided to just grab a permanent marker and I'm outlining the letters, and you'll see I'll go outside of bounds. That's okay. I just later on fixed it with some chalk paint. And now I'm just hot gluing my peace on earth sign towards the top of the frame. To embellish my sign, I'm going to use this frosted fern. And first, I'm going to hot glue the longer pieces of fern towards the bottom center of my sign. And then I'm also going to take the short little fern stems on there and I'm going to hot glue those on top. For the finishing touch, I'm going to grab this buffalo check ribbon and make a simple bow. I'm going to bring the bow together with some floral wire, and then using another piece of ribbon, I'm going to cover my floral wire in the middle of the bow, and then I'm going to hot glue the bow to the center of my greenery.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed these Christmas Dollar Tree signs. Let me know down below which one was your favorite. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell and the thumbs up button. I appreciate everyone spending some time with me, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah!